Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for everyone coming in town to spend time with us tonight, especially Daniel's family, all the guests that have been here before. Everyone, thank you for supporting the community. It's great to be here. So, all right, I love that photo of DWAP, by the way. Thank you. My journey with Daniel really started in 2003. At the time, we were both being recruited by Mark Cody, our head coach, to come here. And like any good coach during this recruiting process, every time I would ask a question, he would be like, this is probably something I need to concern myself with. So one of my big concerns to Mark was, hey, who's going to be my training partner? And he didn't really have a good answer the first time I asked him. So then every subsequent time, over like 32 conversations from April until I arrived here finally, hey, there's this guy, Daniel Waters. He's coming from Penn State, Big Ten wrestling, great background in the military. So as a young 17-year-old high school kid from upstate New York, my mind was really growing to what is this Daniel Waters character? So I finally graduated. I turned 18. I came down to DC that summer to start training right away. My brother at the time was living in Georgetown, right behind Rockland's Barbecue. It's probably hard to believe, but I had this massive afro at the time. My hair was like up to here. You know, I had the real cool upstate New York attire and flair, which included like a gold chain with the Jesus piece and a cut off bright yellow shirt. What's that again? Upstate. Oh, there we go. Yes. I feel the connection. Yes. And for all those that know Steve Jennings, I had these really cool, like Oakley, colorful sunglasses, something that Steve would wear. So Cody told me, he's like, hey, okay, today's the day you get to meet Waters. I was like, awesome. I've been dreaming this up for months now. So I come running from the Georgetown. It was like a mile and a half, so I'm all sweaty. If you've seen the wrestling room, it's like buried in the gym somewhere in Bender. You could walk right by it and never know it actually existed. So I'm like getting ready to approach the threshold here to come in, and I knew Daniel was in the room. And I opened the door, and there's Daniel stretching out on the mat. And for those that know Daniel, know he does not have much of a poker face. So when he looked up and saw me walk in with my big hair and my cool guy sunglasses, it was kind of a look of like disappointment, maybe disgust. I don't know. I don't know what Mark had told him about me, but clearly I did not meet that expectation. So I was like, okay, not the best first impression. We'll work it out. So we get into the match, and he was probably 10 years older than me at the time, right? You were 27, 28. So I'm 17. I was weighing like 170. He's 28, like 190. And he just showed me what Division I wrestling was all about. And I couldn't help but feel that he was being kind of mean to me. And I was like, all right, so he doesn't like my attire. He doesn't think I'm a good wrestler. He hasn't really said much about me. This is gonna be great. Yeah, Mark was absolutely right. What a good training partner. So we leave, and as soon as we leave, he's all cheerful, and we're talking, and everything's great. And I was just like, wow, it's almost like schizophrenic to a degree, right? Like he was just very mean to me, and now he's my best friend. But what I had come to find out was that what Dan knew then that I did not know was that you only have so many days to train. He already wanted to be an All-American. That was his goal. And he knew every day you stepped in that room, it was about being better, and it's one day closer to your goal. He also knew at the time that we were struggling as a program. Mark was just building this thing up from the ground. And I mean, we honestly, we didn't even have matching singlets. We were like the Bad News Bears. So he knew, and he knew in a leadership role coming in, that he had to come and set the tone in that room. And in wrestling, it's very, very physical. And that usually comes through blood, sweat, and tears. And he had to establish that very early on with me and all the rest of the team. And that has been very critical to the success of the program, to come in and say, hey, when I walk into the room, I leave everything behind. My girlfriends, my studies, my friends, whatever's going on in the world, I'm in the room now, and now we're going to prepare for Mortal Kombat in preparation for Division I championships. And that was very important for me. It was critical for our program, and it was the basis of what led us to all our success. Because in a short time, we went from being 92 out of 92 programs to a top 10 program in a really short time. And it was really instrumental from Daniel's lifestyle and the examples that he set. Is he led by example? And this was not just constrained in the wrestling room. He was a phenomenal student athlete. He took his work very seriously. He prepped his stuff very well. His room, everything was always clean and prepared. So he really set the standard and led by example very early on. It was instrumental to me and to our team. So thank you, Dan, for all you've done. And if you would please welcome me in introducing the newest member of the Cassell Hall of Fame, Daniel Waters.
All right. If you guys could just bear with me for 2 minutes. I won't take too much of your time. The expanded speech will be given at the after party at the Barcelona Wine Grill off of Wisconsin, and you guys you're all invited. It's funny you come here, and I know I had to say something, so I prepared something real short. But I want to respond to everything that Josh said because he was right. I remember him walking into the wrestling room, and I was like, I'm gonna freaking kill this kid. Because he was a New York State champ, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, he just doesn't know. So they keep talking about, Dan Waters, first year, 27 and whatever, 5, and then the second year, 32 and 5, led the NCAAs and wins. Just so you know, I was a graduate student. So I went to Penn State, wrestled there for 3 years, graduated, and then Mark Cody recruited me to come to Penn State. So I did graduate from AU, even though they talk about I was just there for 2 years. So, all right, so let me start. First, I'd just like to take another moment to acknowledge the lives lost in the recent tragic mid-air collision near DCA. The devastating loss of 67 souls, including many athletes, should resonate with us all here. As a former Army Black Hawk pilot, and with my girlfriend being a former competitive figure skater, this tragedy strikes particularly close to home. So I just wanted to acknowledge that again. So where do I start? First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone in attendance tonight. Your time is valuable, and I sincerely appreciate you all being here to share this with me tonight. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, Coach Jeff Jones. Where you at? Oh, there, Jeff. Ethan, I think he's up front somewhere. Okay, no problem. I left my kids at home, but they're older, so no worries. And Alexis Dobbs, I think she's over here. Congratulations. It truly is an honor to get inducted alongside each one of you. To my friends, colleagues, and teammates, both from Penn State, Mark, and American University, Josh, thank you for your support and camaraderie over the years. A special thanks to my twin brother, Donald, my lifelong training partner, who wrestled just down the road at the U.S. Naval Academy. To the love of my life, Jody, thank you for being here to celebrate this moment with me. To my coach, Coach Cody, thank you for shaping me into the wrestler that I became. And at last, but certainly not least, a big thank you to American University and the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for finally recognizing me after a short 20 years. Yeah. Thank you. 20 years. It's been 20 years since I walked across the stage with my AU diploma in hand. 20 years since I stood on the podium at the NCAA Wrestling Championships in Oklahoma City as American University's first All-American. Time flies. My son Tyler, who was born while I was competing here, is now in the Army, stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas, and he has a 9-month deployment to Poland under his belt. My daughter Mariah, thank you. My daughter Mariah, who was also born here, just down the road at Sibley Memorial Hospital, shortly after I graduated, is a freshman at Northwestern University. Being the first at something is unique, right? It ties you to the history. It makes you part of the fabric. Now, being inducted into the Hall of Fame, my name is permanently etched in AU's legacy. Funny enough, though, I never really thought about being inducted into the Hall of Fame until about 3 years ago. A teammate of mine randomly texted me multiple times and arguing how him and I should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He listed a few that had already been inducted, and while I appreciate his sentiment, for me it was never about the recognition. What I'm most thankful for isn't the trophies, the medals, or the accolades, most of which I've already thrown away. The real rewards are the memories, the moments that still make me laugh randomly in the middle of the day, causing my girlfriend Jody to ask me, "What are you laughing about now?" For example, the Three Bears Inn. The Three Bears Inn. The Three Bears Inn is a roadside motel in upstate New York. And we stayed there one night, and when I asked for the room key, the receptionist handed me a key. They handed me a giant block, a wooden block, with a metal key attached to it. Now, why is this funny, you ask? Well, when I was being recruited by Mark Cody to come to AU, he assured me that we traveled like rock stars. And that was his term, rock stars. And he also assured me and the rest of the team that we only stayed in 5-star hotels. Now, I would say the Three Bears Inn didn't even deserve a single star. Okay. Another time that has me thinking and makes me laugh is the time I pushed my teammate, our first national champion, Josh Glenn, out of the wrestling room while we were wrestling and shut the door behind him because I thought it would be funny. And as he said, I wanted to teach him a lesson. When he walked back in the room and punched me in the face, what was Coach Cody's reaction? All he said was, "It's about time we showed some emotion in the wrestling room." And then there was Dwayne Hash, good old Hash, whose sheer presence terrified his opponents during weigh-ins. You'd hear them whisper, "Oh my God, I have to wrestle him? There's no way he's in my weight class." So Hash was a 165-pounder, a weight class below me, but he was hit. He was big. He was all muscle. And so that intimidation lasted right up until the match started, at which point Hash would essentially fall over and the match was over. I still laugh thinking about Adam LaPiccolo, good old Adam, for just being Adam, and hearing Coach Cody yell at him for a number of reasons, or our coach from Kyrgyzstan shaking his head in disgust as we filled up the giant orange Gatorade containers with water from the locker room shower at an away match. I mean, technically, it was potable water. This is not Kyrgyzstan. So these are the moments that I cherish. These are the things that don't collect dust, that don't get thrown away, and that will stay with me forever. So I want to thank American University, my teammates, and my coach. Not for the trophies or the honors, but for the laughs, the lessons, and the memories that mean so much more. Thank you.